Hello, I'm Steve Paxton. I'm here with a new video. And actually this time around I have some free goodies for you. A series of retro style frames that I'm making available as a free download. And as you can see here, we're looking at one of the frames that I make available to you to use with your own images. And what I have is one of my images inside the frame. And this is just a great way to show off some of your work. It's well suited for some of the older style image processing methods that you might use, black and white photographs. You could use it with maybe some grungy kind of urban style images. Just kind of a neat way to display your work, and it gives you some options in case you are working with clients, you're doing portraits, that kind of thing. It's always nice to have something different and unique to help display some of your images in your work. And these frames are actually come from real images. Let's take a look here. These are images that I scanned in from one of my family photo albums. These are some old pictures from the 40s. And what I did is I scanned them and brought them into Photoshop and cleaned them up a bit. And you can see that these corners are kind of neat here. Some of the images are actually missing the corners. And they're just really kind of a neat retro look to the image. I mean, these are old images, and it's just kind of a neat. I thought it'd be just a really cool way to display some of my own work, and I thought it'd be fun to make them available to everyone. So what I wanted to do is just take a minute to show you how to use them, so that you know how quick and easy it is to drop your own images in here. When you download the frames themselves, you'll get images that look just like this. Basically, what you have is you got the frame, and you have a placeholder image right here. You can turn off the visibility of the placeholder image. That's just to let you know basically where to put your image. So what we want to do, the frame itself is about 1500 pixels wide. And in this case, it's about 1500 by 1000 pixels. So it's big enough for most general uses that you might come up with, for example, uploading to the website or making part of a slideshow. I mean, you could even print these if you wanted to, but 1500 is pretty good size for most reasons that you might want to use this. So essentially all you need to do is grab your image, and here's one of my images, and if it's a real big image, you're going to want to resize it. And in this case it's about 3000 pixels wide, so I'm going to go ahead and just resize this to about 1500 pixels. Bring down the size just a hair, and we're going to grab the move tool, press and hold the shift key, and we're just going to drag that onto the frame image just like that. Now we hold the shift key so that your image stays centered. And then you're going to want to resize that. Let's go ahead and turn off the visibility of this placeholder image. You want to make sure that your image is below the frame, and then make sure that you've got the move tool selected and the show transform control box selected, and press and hold the shift key so that you don't ruin the aspect ratio of your image. And then just go ahead and drag one of the corners down just like this and resize it so it fits in there with the frame. Press enter and you can turn off the show transform control box, and there you have it. You're essentially done. Pretty much it. If some of these frames, I should point out, are slightly rotated, and I did that on purpose because I think it's kind of cool to have them sort of askew or off center a bit. If you wanted to, you could actually rotate it so it's perfectly straight, and all you have to do is just press and hold the shift key and select both those layers. Make sure that the move tool is selected. Click the show transform control box, and then you can just rotate it so that it suits the look that you're looking for. And you're pretty much done. You can resize this for whatever application you're going to be using it for. In my case, my images on my website are about 700 pixels wide, so I'd resize this to about 700 pixels, just like that. And if you wanted to match the background color of your website or of the slideshow that you're using, go ahead and create a new layer, drag that below your image layer, and then fill it with the color of your website. And in my case it's white, so I'm going to go ahead and fill this with white, and we have it ready to go, and it's pretty much ready to be uploaded to the internet, to the website, right onto my server. So I'm just go ahead and save out for web and devices so that it's a web-friendly image. Hit save and you're ready to go. I'm going to go ahead and cancel that out. Let's go ahead and grab another image that I have. This is I think this is even more retro looking because it's the square aspect ratio. And again, what we have here are the background layer, which is basically just a placeholder, and we have, I'm going to go ahead and flatten these two guys down here. Just like that. So you have your background layer, and then you have your frame. And in this case, with some of my frames, I've added some brush splatter to kind of grunge up the frame even more. And I did this non-destructively so that you can go in here and actually turn off the spatter, and you can even move it if you wanted to. That way you have some options. You can leave it if you want, or you can turn it off if it gets in the way of the image itself. But let's go ahead and do this one more time. Let's grab the image I had here, and with the square frame, you're going to want to resize this. And it's about 1500 by 1500 pixels. So be sure you click that in up here for the width and the height, and then just come in here and resize it. Grab the move tool, press and hold the shift key, and then drag that in on top of the square frame. And it looks like I didn't press and hold the shift key long enough there. But if you press and hold the shift key, it'll come in centered. And then make sure you can hit the show transform control box. Press and hold the shift key while you are dragging the size down just a bit. And that, again, just make sure that you don't mess up the aspect ratio of your image. Just resize it just like that. And if you're not real pleased with it being crooked, you can actually turn your image so that it fits for the frame that you have here. Press enter, and you're done, just like that. And again, like I said, you can come in here with the brush spatter, and you can actually turn that off if you want. Like, we'll go up here and look at the corner up here. Let's go ahead and turn off that brush spatter. Just like that. So you can actually turn that on and off if you want. And if you wanted to, you could come in and add more brush spatter. And I'll show you how to do that real quick here. Go ahead and create a new layer, and drag that over the top of the frame layer. And I am using kind of a light brown. If you want to use the same color that I'm using here, I'm using 117 for red, 93 for green, 44 for blue, or you can just type in 755 D2C right here. It's not a bad color. Another one that's really good, and I just want to point this out, 135, 112, and 65. And or you could type in 877041 and click OK. So we've got that as our foreground color. Grab your brush tool, and then go up to the brush and grab a nice grungy brush. Now, I downloaded some spatter and some coffee cup stains off the internet for free. If you Google that, you can, something like free brushes, Photoshop brushes, you'll find all kinds of stuff out there. Let's grab this coffee cup stain here. Use the right and left bracket keys to resize here. And remember that we want that new layer to be above the frame and above the image, and you just come in here and stamp that right on top. Sometimes it's a little bit too dark, so in that case you might want to turn down the flow or the opacity just a bit and restamp it just like that. And if you're not real pleased with the way it looks, or if you want part of it, you can come in and grab your eraser tool. And I'm erasing with the spatter brush here. Let's grab just a regular round brush. Build up the brush size, and you can come in here and you can actually erase part of that if you wanted to. Just like that. Just gives you some options. And I'm going to go ahead and turn that. Get rid of that there, and again, we're ready to go and we're done. So all that's left now is to create a new layer. Drag this there to the bottom. I'm going to fill it with white because I have a white background on my website. Just like that, and if I wanted to, I could come in and crop it down. Just like that. Resize. And in my case, my images on my website are about 700 pixels wide. So I'll resize it for my website and then go and save it out for the web. Just like that. Very cool. You're ready to go. And of course, you could, if you wanted to, rotate this image so it's perfectly square if you're not digging the crooked look of the frame. Either way, it's totally up to you. It's very easy to do. Now, one last thing I wanted to show you. I actually made the corners of some of these, one of these images available. I used the pen tool and I actually cropped them out so that we could use them with an image. So let me show you how you would do that. You can see here I've got top right, bottom left. And it's just a matter of clicking and dragging those into your image. This is kind of ideally suited for about 3,000 pixels wide. So let's go back to my 3,000 pixel wide image. And we'll just take a look. It's 3,000 pixels wide by 2,000 pixels high. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a white border around the image so that it kind of matches that look that we had before. So I'm going to go to canvas size. I'm going to make sure that relative is checked here. And I'm going to go to pixels. And I'm just going to go ahead and increase the border all the way around it by about 200 pixels. Make sure it says white for our canvas color and click OK, and there we have our new border. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag. I'm going to make sure all 4 of these are selected. Make sure that my move tool is selected. And I'm just going to drag this over to the image, just like that. And I'll go ahead and grab the top right one. Move that over there. Grab our top left, bottom right, and bottom left. Just like that. Let's go back to our top right, make sure the move tool is selected, show transform controls is selected. Let's just kind of bump that off center just a bit because this is an old school image. We'll leave that one. Let's go to the bottom right, do the same thing. Actually, let's go to bottom left, do the same thing. Kind of just bump that a little off center, just like that. And I showed you earlier how to create a little bit of spatter. Let's go ahead and put these in a folder so that they're out of our way. We'll create a new layer. And I'm going to go over and grab my paintbrush tool. And let's just grab, how about that? And we can come in here. A little bit of spatter. It's a little bit too much. Let's turn the flow down just a little bit. A little too heavy-handed there. Kind of like that. So we'll leave that. Let's grab this spatter here. Throw a little in there just like that. Grab some more. Let's grab this coffee cup stain right here. And just do a little bit on the edge there. It's a little bit too light. So let's turn the flow up. Turn the flow back up to 100%. About something like that. Nah, I'm not liking that. How about something like that? There we go. And we can grab our eraser tool if we want and erase some of this. Anyway, I think you get the idea. Idea is to kind of grunge this up a little bit. You could even use textures. And if you've looked at my tutorial on using textures to grunge up your image, you could pull in a texture and actually really wreak havoc on this image to give it a really old school look and feel. Anyway, those are available in both black and brown. I made them available as black and brown, and those will be part of the download. But I think it's really cool, and I want to make them available to everyone to play around with. My name is Steve Paxton. You can catch me over at paxtonprints.com. I really appreciate watching. Take care.